But like I said, let's move from one James Mangold film to another. He starts talking about his Dawn of the Jedi. Expect a lot of this to come out, ladies and gents. Expect a lot of this now, because this is he's hot property because of Indiana.
No,
he's not, obviously, but this will be what happens. This will be what happens. There'll be lots and lots. There'll be a big push for this now. So let's take a look. At this year's Star Wars Celebration, we learned that James Mangold was going to be doing period piece drama of Star Wars, The Dawn of the Jedi, which actually has now been called that by Kathleen Kennedy, even though Lucasfilm themselves have debunked that as a title, which is super dumb, but whatever.
Yeah.
Taking place thousands of years prior to the events of the Phantom Menace, Freudian slip there. We'll meet the first person who wielded the Force and learn the origins of the Jedi.
Jennifer Lawrence?
She does it all, mate.
Brie Larson.
So there was an interview with Happy, Sad, Confused, and Mangold elaborated on his approach to exploring the pivotal moment in the franchise's history, which actually, means fuck all. Doesn't matter, because it's going to be whatever Kathleen Kennedy wants it to be anyway, so who cares? When I talked to some of the Star Wars clerics, this is like a nerd's wet dream, isn't it? Working for Star Wars. I'm a Star Wars cleric. Piss off. They keep track of all these timelines. I was like, so when would this happen? And they were like, 25,000 years before episode 1. And I was like, oh, I was looking for some distance, but that's distance. Well done. The reality for me is that feeling of space, no pun intended, was something that I felt was really important not to get away from fan service or the intricacies of what George had set up and dreamed of, but to just have the space to tell a story and not be instantly encumbered with the bases you have to hit. So he was asked, asked if we'll hear words like Jedi and midichlorian in this movie. The filmmaker said, I don't want to make any guarantees one way or another, but it will be before Jedi, meaning you might be experiencing something that might become Jedi. And despite the fact that people make movies other ways, I don't tend to think people brand themselves before they've actually found themselves. And then obviously, it also starts talking about the Boba Fett stuff. But let's talk about this thing first, this Dawn of the Jedi business. Who cares? This will absolutely be another wet dream of Kathleen Kennedy's, won't it?
100%. I mean, going back that far, like literally, like if you just go back just 1,000 years in our own reality here, and how much technology in the world and all that has changed just within 1,000 years. If you go back 25,000 years and you still got all this, high-end technology, light speed across the galaxies, all this and that, it's just, for me, it's gonna pull me out of it. Like, and the thing is, if they get away from that and they really dumb it down to where it's almost like cavemen, medieval times, then that's not even going to feel like Star Wars.
Yeah.
So plus there's just a huge opportunity for them to jack up the lore completely for the whole entire franchise with this. So, but I don't know. Who knows if this thing will actually get made? With given Lucasfilm's track record, it's not very good on actually completing projects that are announced.
Well, that and the fact that this Indiana Jones film is probably going to bomb.
Yeah, exactly. And that was going to be my next point right there. I mean, with what they've done with people that have failed before, and they've dropped their projects. Patty Jenkins, just first one that comes to mind, and the D&D guys from Game of Thrones, several others.
Yeah.
But yeah, if this indie film flops, I don't see him getting anything. Nobody fails up at Lucasfilm except for Kathleen Kennedy. She won't allow anybody else to fail up. She's the only one allowed to do that there. So again, I'll be surprised if this happens, but even if it does, I think it has huge potential to just be a complete disaster and a mess for especially lore for the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. Culture, you want to chip in there?
The only thing I would like to add is that I have no interest in a Dawn of the Jedi. I have no interest in an origin story.
The Dawn of the Jedi.
Yeah, I
leave
mean,
us some mystery.
Well, that's
this is true.
Yeah, and that's where Disney gets everything wrong, is because they want to go back and change, the events, but then we have further questions like, where did this genocide come from that, you've created with the way you've crafted things, and was there an ethnic cleansing somewhere along the way that we're not familiar with? It comes up, it just creates more problems because you go back in time to create an origin. Very few opportunities to create a story for a starting point for a character those are very rarely successful, and they usually have a lot of other support to build a background around. You're trying to do this with an entire sect, for lack of a better way to describe the Jedi and the Sith. How are you going to come about creating this thing and not create additional problems down the road? You've already devalued this property to a degree where you could not possibly sell it for half of what you purchased it for. So whoever ends up with this in the end is going to be dealing with a very crippled intellectual property. So going backwards doesn't do anything other than serve Kathleen's agenda to drive this let's get High Republic idea. Right. And everything else that comes into play later. So it's really, really bad. Really, really bad.
Yeah, the High Republic is not doing well either. So
no. Well, he does move on and start talking about this bloody Boba Fett thing. So confirmed that it didn't basically to do with Star Wars Solo Stories bad box office performance, apparently. They didn't even consider making it. Which is bollocks, because it was all reworked into Mandalorian.
Yep.
So it says, at this point, I was doing it, and I was probably scaring the shit out of everyone, but I was making much more of a borderline rated R, single planet spaghetti western. They probably would never be able to embrace Baby Yoda if I made that. So it didn't really belong in the world I was kind of envisaging. I was just listening to Ennio Morricone all day, all night, and typing away. I'm not sure it ever would have happened. I'm not sure it was anyone's plans, what I was thinking. So he's trying to make an R-rated Boba Fett movie.
And he's trying to sound all edgy and like, I would have totally made like a hardcore Boba Fett, but I was too badass. They wouldn't let me. So you got that baby Disney Yoda shit. Not my cool ass edgy Star Wars. Yo, look, I'll tell you what this movie about the first Jedi is going to be about. It's going to be about the strongest woman ever, Rey Palpatine the First, like way back when in time, and her name will be Rey Palpatine as well. And it'll show you how she has a child named Leia Skywalker.
I just call them all Ray.
Ray. And it's all going to lead to the modern days. Yeah, like I don't think it's going to be like cavemen, but I do think it's going to be like proto Jedi and Sith kind of thing.
I mean the creative what's the word I'm looking for? The creative bones in these people that are coming up with some of this stuff. Like I was just when Tom was sitting there talking about it. Yeah, you got Ray, Poe, Finn. I mean, all these characters' names. You just come up with 3 letters and just throw them in there, and this is going to be our new character name.
Probably. It's crap. Even Cal Kestis as well. Cal.
Yeah.
What the fucking same, honestly. Whatever. It's gonna be crap.
Nate, I don't know if you saw the trailer for the new Star Wars game coming out.
It looked all right, but
it didn't.
Yeah, it looked all right, but that was it because it's just it's the same format for everything we have.
Yeah, but did you notice like the ship that she flies, it's basically just like a rectangle, flying around. Like I don't know what it is, but like some of the ship designs, and I've said this before in our streams, like when you had the original trilogy, I mean, you had the Imperial shuttle, the TIE fighters, X-wings, Y-wings. I mean, all these ships looked like they were actually engineered, because they were actually engineered by people who designed planes and all that sort of stuff. These just look like some kid drawing just like a rectangle and putting some pipes on it or something. Like the designs for a lot of the vehicles and ships
lazy
in this stuff is very lazy. Not a fan at all.
No.